Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be my January wrap-up part 2 and also my wrap-up of the short stack readathon. First, I was thinking about wearing this shirt, but you can't really see the graphics on a shirt when I'm sitting in this position. So this says, "Free the people, free the land, liberation for Sudan," and then it has a bunch of animals that are native to Sudan in the middle with some black people riding on the cheetah. And the whole thing is pink, which is my favorite color that I got for a fundraiser for the Sudanese American Physicians Association, which I'm going to link below. And I just wanted to make you aware that the RSF is being very brutal and horrible in Sudan and is ethnically cleansing and committing genocide against the people of Sudan, and they are being funded and armed by the UAE, and there is a petition to stop US arms sales to the UAE, have an arms embargo, and that would be really helpful. So if you could go and sign that, as well as pressure your representatives in any way you can, that would be really great. Thank you for listening to my spiel, which I believe is a piece of Yiddish, the word spiel. So the books, I'm going to put up here the short stack readathon filled out bingo card. So all the ones across the top were short story. And so I filled that out mostly with queer joy because there are a bunch of short stories in here. There's also some poetry. So I put this on one of the poetry squares as well. So I read lots of short stories and lots of poetry. Inara, In the Light of Utopia, is a book by Palestinians, queer Palestinians, that is utopian, that I've just started reading, but I did read a full poem and also the 2 introductions, which are nonfiction, so that's why that checks off those 2 squares. Earlier in the month, I read Waking Beauty, which is a short story, I would consider it. It's a picture book, kind of. I put that up on short story, and then The Cost of Being Undocumented is only 232 pages, so I put it on nonfiction and counted it for this readathon. And then Vanya and the Wild Hunt is a short novel, so I put that over there. And then what was the other one? Poetry, nonfiction. Oh, graphic novel. That's checked off by these 2 different graphic novels, which are in the same series, one after the other. This is Yona of the Dawn, which is, I think, has actually surpassed Snow White with the Red Hair as my favorite manga series. So in the last 10 days of the month, I read 5 books. The first one was Let Me Hear a Rhyme. This is an audiobook, and I was having a hard time with it for the first half or so because I was worried about these teenagers getting themselves into trouble. I don't like it when characters, like, their biggest problems are brought on themselves, or like their most dangerous situations are because they made illogical choices. Not that that's unrealistic. That's very true to life. But it is frustrating to read about. But I really, really liked the second half and like how it wrapped up. I really, really liked the characterization of one of our main characters. There's 3 main characters who are all perspective characters. One of them has a girlfriend at the beginning, and I really liked the characterization of her and what we learned about her as the story went on. This book is centered around the death of a teenager. He was shot to death, and it's a mystery as to why. The investigation is going on as at the beginning of the book, and they're attending the funeral at the beginning of the book. The boy being Steph. Steph's sister and his 2 best friends decide to sell his music to specifically try to make a name for him and get his music to be famous, because they think it was not fair that he had his life cut short, and he could have been a great music artist known all over the world except that he was killed so soon. And so the world should still get to hear his music even though he's gone. And so that's the main concept. There's all sorts of other stuff going on at the same time. And a big part of that is the sister wanting to know who killed her brother. And that's her main motivation for taking part in this, because they promise that if she helps them get a hold of his recordings, they will help her investigate his death, which is, of course, very dangerous because the people who killed him probably don't want to get in trouble for it. So I was kind of stressed out for the first half, worrying about the trouble these kids were getting themselves into, but I ended up being really impressed with it and really enjoyed the latter half to third. So I really recommend it. Interesting note, it's set in like the 80s or early 90s. It was pre-internet, so if you're nostalgic for that era, or if you're just interested in how these things would go down in a pre-internet time, it is in New York City as well. So if you're interested in any of those things, I recommend you check it out. It's by Tiffany D. Jackson, and 4 stars. Then I read the audiobook of A Duke, the Lady, and a Baby. Why it's not called A Duke, A Lady, and a Baby. Why it switches to the for the middle one, I don't know. I think it would have rolled off the tongue easier if all had been the same article, but maybe that was to differentiate it from a book that had already been published. I don't know. Anyway, this is about a Jamaican British character, historical romance, who falls in love with a white British man who's a duke while she is posing as / acting as the nanny to her own baby, because she was, when her husband died, her husband's cousin kicked her out of the house and had her institutionalized. Trigger warnings / content warnings for all of these books will be down at the bottom of the description. And so she gets out of the institution thanks to a organization that helps widows. When the house is taken over by the Duke, who is actually the rightful inheritor / the baby is his rightful ward instead of the cousin who kicked the widow out. When he comes and takes over the household and kicks out the evil cousin, she goes in and pretends to be a nanny so that she can take care of her baby without revealing that she is the mother, because she's worried that because she was officially in an institution that he will think that she should be there and kick her out again. And they fall in love, and it's really cute, and I really like babies in books, so I enjoyed it a lot. 4.5 stars. Then we have volumes 40 and 41 of Yona of the Dawn. I try to read these once a year. But I missed last year, so I have a few to catch up on. I don't reread the whole series. I hold it relatively well in my mind, although not perfectly. I just read the new books that have come out, and they make me really happy. So I'm really glad that I went ahead and ordered these from the library. They are by Mizuho Kusanagi. This has a bodyguard to the princess romance trope in it. It is very slow burn. I look forward to the conclusion of the series because I want to find out what happens in the end, but I also am really enjoying the journey along the way. 5 stars. Then Queer Joy, anthology, which I have a story in called My Friend the Witch. There are more short stories, I would say, than poetry in here, and I really like a lot of them. My favorite one is probably To Being Found, which is a sci-fi one about being on a ship that is off course to an extent that it is now gonna be lost in space, but is being pulled towards something. They're not sure what it is, but it seems good. And it's all the crew sharing what they want to share on their last transmission to Earth. And my favorite poem is Pride by M.D. Robbins. I will say a note about the trigger warnings. They're all kind of mashed together at the beginning, and it's not in order of the stories. And most of them are not labeled with which story they go to, so that's not totally helpful. And then the last story, I believe, has Dubcon in it, which is not in the trigger warnings at all. But other than that, I really love it. 4.75 stars. Once again, this anthology is to raise money for a queer Chinese author who has been fined for writing queer stories. And you can find the link to buy an ebook and therefore support that campaign, and also just the link to donate to that campaign down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!